with more holiday. Although this isn't technically holiday, this is the Tom Ford Soleil collection. But I also have the Tom Ford Rose Lip Oil Tint and the lip color in Satin Matte in Intimate Rose, which I think actually goes with the Cafe Rose collection, which is the rose tease and the cream blush, which I have ordered the rose tease. I mentioned it on Instagram. I ordered it from Rhiannon at Nordstrom. You can pick it up there as well. So I'll have that video coming up and I'll use the lipstick again in that video. I don't have the blush yet, the cream blush, but I do have the Soleil, like I said. This is the, and I'm gonna butcher the French, Lumiere d'Hiver. It's the best I can do, guys. Trying. And the highlighter, I picked up the pink one. I did not pick up the golden one. Those types of shades and highlighters just don't look as good on me. So this is the Rose Iris, or Iris. I'm very excited to try these out. I will say that the shades, again, like I mentioned for Dior and Chanel, not revolutionary. Generally, when brands do holiday collections, they don't go out on a limb and do something really unique or different, because a lot of times people are buying these for gifts for various holidays. So brands tend to play it safe, generally, for holiday collections, because people are buying them for other people. So they try to, stick with traditional holiday shades, neutrals, that kind of thing. So here is the eyeshadow palette. When I do the eye look with it, I will show you the swatches and comparisons. I've got a couple of comparisons. This is the Rose Iris highlighter, and I can actually use this, again, I'll have swatches in a minute, but this I can actually use as a highlighter. It'll be a very light blush on me, but I can actually use it as a highlighter. The lip oil I have on now, and let's talk about this for a second. So whether this, I think it's part of the Cafe Rose collection, but it's the Rose Lip Oil Tint, 0.17 ounces. So there's not a tremendous amount in here. I'm just looking to see, I'm sure there's a date. I don't see the expiration date on here. I'll see if I can find it. It's got to be here somewhere. But it looks like this. It's in the white case, and then on the side, it's clear. It has a slight pink tint to it, and the doe foot is a very wide doe foot. And it has a rose scent to it. Which is actually quite beautiful. But if you don't like scents, or you're sensitive to scents, I've just been through my own migraine journey. This does not trigger a migraine, but light rose never has. What I would call real, like heavy rose, or rich, drenched rose will. This is a very light, fresh rose. It doesn't bother me. It smells very nice. It lasts probably about a minute, and then the scent's gone. There's a slight tint, very slight, like the lightest of lightest pinks. So it's really a lip oil. They say lip oil tint because I guess technically there is a little bit of pink, but really it's a lip oil. I actually love the formula. I've been using it and I'm very fond of it, and I think it's really nice. But it's not one of the maximizers from Dior. It doesn't have a tingling. It doesn't plump. I'm not getting any of that. It's just a lip oil. Just a lip oil, an expensive lip oil, but a really nice one with a nice light rose fragrance, with a little bit of tint, with a nice applicator, and of course a lovely presentation. If you're somebody who loves a lip oil though, this might be your thing. So again, I think this is part of the Cafe Rose collection. But this is the Satin Matte in Intimate Rose. And there was also another shade. I put up the shade here. It's a deeper shade. And I saw Tavia, Chic Profile, swatch it quite some time ago, and it's too deep for me. If you haven't watched my channel before, hi, by the way, my name is Jennifer, and I was a Chanel makeup artist half a lifetime ago. Here on my channel, I do all things luxury, beauty, fashion, it runs the gamut, and I try to post about 3 times a week. And I would love it if you would click down below and that little subscription and the little bell. It really does help my channel grow, and then I can bring more products to all of you to see and talk about. So this shade is more my shade. The deeper shade is not a shade I wear. I tend to wear lighter shades. I do have some deep shades, some deep lipsticks that I wear, but I wear them so infrequently that it's not, it's not something I'm gonna pick up, especially when it's a matte. Now this is a satin matte. I like the satin matte formula in Tom Ford because it is exactly that. But again, it's not my favorite formula. I like more of the shiny, almost glossy kind of lip products that wear off in 5 seconds. And I recognize that they do, but that's just my thing. So let's swatch this, and you'll see, if you've watched me before, you'll recognize immediately that this is very much my shade. So we'll put that on later because I want to let the lip oil kind of, sink in while we're doing the rest of the makeup. So you can see in somewhat real time, not real time, but because I do cut out a lot of things, but you can see how my lips look after 30 minutes or so. So let's do the highlighter. So I'm gonna have the swatch go up. The highlighter, as you can see, is very luminescent, very light pink. Rose Iris is a beautiful way of describing it. And I compared it to the Pearl et Fantasia Chanel highlighter from years ago, the one with the pearls on each side, the white and the pink. Not to be confused with the Fantasia blush that came out recently. That's much pinker and much deeper. And then on the other side, and hopefully on the graphic, it shows you which one's which. Is the new Guerlain highlighter. Now the Guerlain, I'm sorry, not Guerlain, Dolce & Gabbana. The Dolce & Gabbana Devotion highlighter, that is much peacher. It's peachier, it's not pink, it's peach. And it's not nearly as luminescent. It's more of a satiny kind of finish, whereas this one is very much a luminescent finish. So I'm gonna put it on my face so you guys can take a look. I really like it. I think it's beautiful, but I don't, again, these things are all very subjective about what you like. This one might be a little too luminescent for some folks. I'm just trying to catch the light there. I do have natural light coming in, but it is a dreary day here in New England, so it's not like you're gonna get a lot of sun. Sorry. That's fall, early fall sometimes. Fall in New England can be absolutely stunning, or it can look like London. No offense to London, it's one of my favorite places, but it can be dreary. Okay, so that is the highlighter. I think it's really beautiful. It's very light pink. Now, I think you can, I'm just gonna sort of pounce it. I think you can build this up. I think you could use this on a deeper skin tone because you're gonna have more contrast with it, because it is pigmented. The reason you don't see it as much on my skin is because it kind of blends with my skin. If you put it on a deeper skin tone, you're gonna get that contrast. What I would say though, this is definitely cool leaning. Like, there's no doubt about it. So if you don't like cool leaning, or your skin is more olive toned or more yellow toned, or even, well, yeah, I'd say olive or yellow. I would probably go with the other highlighter. If you have more red undertones or pink undertones or even peach undertones, if you're peach and you're kind of neutral, you could go with either one. But this is definitely a very, very light baby pink with like iciness in it. But you can see it, like, it's just a very light, it catches the light, but it does have a lot of luminosity. So if you don't like that, I want to be clear. It does not accentuate texture on me as much as some of like sparkly, highlighters do. So it's not that, it's just luminous. So if you look for something that has more of like a satin finish, like the Dolce & Gabbana, this is not it. I actually really like it. Yeah, I'll save my comments for the end, but I really like it. let's move to the shadow. This is, again, what I'm going to destroy. Lumiere de Verre. I'm working on it, guys. So I'll put up the swatches here. This is a very familiar looking color story, not different from some of the other ones I've talked about recently. And I've actually compared it, and I'll have that go up, compared it to Metal Lust and then Yves Saint Laurent Store Adults. They are different. I think you can see that. There's a difference in the color stories. And I'd love to hear what else you want me to compare it to. I'm going to have other comparisons that are going to be going up on Instagram with the Dior holiday collection. Those are coming. They probably are already up before this video goes up. So if you want ones for Tom Ford, let me know and I'll have them on Instagram as well. But these are the ones that are like immediately occurred to me while I was looking at it. The formula here is not the creme formula. And I've said many times, creme formula is, in my opinion, the reason I fell in love with Tom Ford. But at the time, it was not known as the creme formula. It was Coco, I think Coco Mirage was the name of the eyeshadow palette that came out. It was like an all matte, cream, cool leaning, stunningly beautiful, and then they discontinued it. And since then, there's 3 others that have come out, I think 3, in creme formula. 1 purple, 1 green, I can't remember names right now, and one that was like a warmer leaning Coco Mirage kind of thing. And I love all of them. And the formula is stunning. They are creamy, they are smooth, they are gorgeous. They are like a combination of like the Clé de Pose and the old Dior's. Just love that formula. But for some reason, Tom Ford keeps coming out with the other formulas and not that one. This is not the wet dry formula, which can be good depending on like what you like. Well, there's a lot of people that love the wet dry formula. That's not this either. So, I don't know. I'm going to assume it's because the creme formula is more expensive. I mean, that's me. I immediately go to the most pessimistic reason, but that's what I have to guess because I know it's popular because those ones always sold out. So I'm guessing it's more expensive due to the creme formulas, but this formula is not bad. It swatches well. It looks nice. It's powdery. It doesn't seem patchy, but we're about to find out if it is. And, we'll see what it's going to look like. So I want to say all that because I'm a big fan. We're going to go in with this very much like my skin tone color. I'm a big fan of Tom Ford, and I fell in love with Tom Ford, and his products years and years and years ago. And I would recommend Tom Ford to pretty much everybody. His double-ended eyeliner, his eyeliners were amazing. The powder ones, pencils, they've been discontinued. Lipsticks, I mean, there was so much Tom Ford that I would recommend to everyone. And, now I'm more cautious because you never know what you're going to get. All right, so I'm going to take this cream and kind of put it as a base. Like I said, it does pretty much match my skin. It's very close. So I'm going to kind of put it all over the eye. This will neutralize pretty much any veins or discoloration. Everyone has some discoloration in their eye. If you do have like heavy veins or discoloration that you don't like, I would strongly recommend using a primer because that will neutralize everything and you'll get the kind of color you want out of the shadows. I've gotten a lot of questions about that. Like they're like, I put my eyeshadow on and it doesn't look like the color in the pan or when I swatch it. Sometimes that has to do with not using a primer. I generally don't use a primer when I'm trying it out for all you guys so that you can see what it would look like without one because a lot of people don't like the extra step of using a primer, but primers do work and they are helpful. My favorite is Gerard Cosmetics. Excellent eye primer. Really, really good. Okay, so I'm going to take the lightest shimmer shade, this one here, and I'm going to put that on like the inner half of the eye. Yes, I do recommend primers. It's just when I'm trying them out for you, I'm just trying to do it to see what happens. Many times, though, if you see me with makeup on, I have on primer, and it's Gerard Cosmetics primer. That's what it is. All right, let's put this on the eye. I'm gonna pat it in. Oh, that's nice. I'm patting it in because this is a sparkly shade, and if you want to get the most out of a sparkly shade, I would recommend using a brush that is appropriate for a sparkly shade, one that's dense, that picks up a lot of pigment. And I would pat and kind of sweep. I would not that, because that's gonna get you the least amount of payoff that way. Sometimes that's what you want. I do that often when I have something that's super pigmented and I'm trying to get a diffused look out of it, but not if I'm trying to get the most out of it that I can, which is what I'm trying to do with this inner shade. It's beautiful. It really is. It's a lovely platinum shade. And it went on very well. I didn't have fallout, but again, I did pat it on. All right, now we're gonna take deeper shade there. It's also a shimmery shade. That's why I thought of Metal Lust, but when you looked at the, I'll put it up again, the picture Metal Lust versus this, and it's not the same formula. I don't know what they did with Metal Lust, but it's just different. It's just different. Okay, so we're gonna put this on the second half of the eye. And I am going to put that silver shade like kind of on top. I'll show you. But what I do when I do these kinds of looks often is that I will blend them in the middle with one of the shades, the lighter shade, so that they blend seamlessly. And you don't, oh, now there's a lot of fallout from that one. You don't have to, I would probably use the lighter shade all over the eye and this deeper sparkle shade just as like an accent, or I would use this one all over the eye, not the other one. I tend to keep it relatively simple, but you know, trying to show you all the shades and how they can work together. Yeah, this one definitely has more fallout. It's more glittery, I guess. Okay, I think you can see the difference. The one on the inner corners is platinum, the one on the outer is like a bronzy satin. Okay, so I'm gonna take a very fluffy brush, nothing on it, and kind of blend this. I'm just kind of swirling it, guys. I'm not doing much else. Very lightly. All right, now I'm gonna take the deepest shade. Now this is actually a pretty deep brown shade. Depending on how much you want to use, decide what size brush you want, because it's pretty deep compared with the other shades. And I'm literally just tapping this at the moment. Now just kind of bringing it in a little. I'm gonna take the lightest shimmering, put it very lightly, not as intensely as we put it in the inner corner. So sort of tie it in with the rest of the look. But again, I'm using it kind of as a topper over the other shades, not to use it like to cover the other shades. Yeah, that's perfect. All right, let me clean up the eye and put on, I'm gonna use the dark brown as liner mascara, and I'm also gonna put on some Tom Ford Terra bronzer to bronze up my face, and then we'll go to the lip. So mascara's on, and I've got some Terra bronzer on. I think the Terra bronzer just really like makes the look, and of course I love the Terra bronzer. It's still my favorite bronzer of all time. So we're gonna put on the Satin Matte. You can see that the lip oil has, you know, it's not as shiny as it was at the beginning of the video. It's been about a half an hour. But my lips are still very moisturized. It feels really nice. Yeah, it still feels like there's lip oil on. You know, I really like it. So I'm gonna leave it on when I put the Satin Matte on, because that is how I would use a matte product, even a satin matte product. I would keep the lip oil, I'd put the lip oil on at the beginning of my makeup and then do all my makeup and then put this on. So since that's how I would apply it in quote real life, that's what I'm gonna do for you here. Definitely creates a more emollient product than it would without the lip oil underneath, but it's not like overly so. You can still see that there's sort of a satin matte finish to the look. It's just a little bit more shiny, luminous than it would be. So again, love the lip shade. The Satin Matte is actually a formula that I can use. I really, really like it. The highlighter. I think the highlighter is beautiful, and I don't think it accentuates texture. I think it's a gorgeous shade, but it's really light. It is not something that is sparkly, but it's not something that's satiny either. It's kind of in between. It's a luminous shade. So I'm gonna take a very dense brush and we're gonna pounce it on the face a little bit, just in like high points here so we can see if it can be more impactful. And and the answer is yes. It definitely can be. So depending on how you want to wear this, you can definitely make it more, more highlighty if you want to. I am somebody who would, definitely blend that out. I don't want it to be as, but it is beautiful. And to be frank, it's my favorite of this collection. I really, really like this highlighter. I think it's a stunning highlighter. I have a lot of highlighters. I was going through them trying to find one exactly like it, and I couldn't find one. That's not to say I don't have one, but I couldn't find one like when I was looking. So if one comes to mind, let me know, and I'll look to see if maybe I don't have it. But yeah, it's a beautiful light pink, luminous shadow that's not. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Rare Beauty, but the Rare Beauty ones that I have are the liquids. I don't have the powder one that's pink. So it could be like that, but I don't own that one. So the shadow. So it's really pretty. It's very nice. But as I've said, we have a lot of these shades. It looks like a lot of different ones that I have already. Frankly, including the new Dior, including the Yves Saint Laurent Store Dolls, and the Metal Lust that I compared it to. It's not the same, but it's similar. The new Chanel, they're all similar shades of silvery grays, browns, blacks. Like they're not, all that different. I think this formula is good. My favorite shade in here is this platinum kind of shimmer shade. I think it really pays off on the eye. I think that's really nice. The brown in here is a deep, cool brown, which I think works really well. And when you mix it in with the other shades, you'll notice it almost has like a blackish, so it's very cool toned kind of look. And I think that's nice, but I have that shade. Yeah. So, I mean, again, I think it's really pretty. And I think if this is one that you pick up, I don't think you'll be disappointed in it. But I don't think it's one that you absolutely need to add to your collection if you already have, the other Soleil collections, or if you have the new Dior, or if you have many, many palettes that have a silvery gray, deep toned shade. Is it nice? Yes, it absolutely is. The formula is not my favorite, but it did go on really well. I'm looking in the 10X, and I can tell you, like, everything is very smooth. It's not patchy at all. I didn't have to, mess with it to get the shades to blend, anything like that. It's just that it's not my favorite formula. It's not super creamy formula. We'll see how it wears and see if it settles into lines. But generally, this formula by Tom Ford is good. I do like it. It's just a very expensive palette. So, my standards are a little higher because I want it to be perfect. The lip oil. The lip oil is really, really nice. But guys, remember, it's a lip oil. There's very little tint to it. So it's a very expensive product. Again, I'm just trying to make it clear to you guys what, when you're spending your money, what you're getting. If you feel like you want just an expensive, really good lip oil in a really nice packaging, absolutely buy it. But I do want to be very honest and, not be like, oh, it's the best thing ever for $100 and all you get is tinted lip oil. So yeah, I mean, I love the packaging and I think the lip oil is really, really nice, but I don't think it's like, revolutionary for the price that Tom Ford charges. So yeah, I'd say I like the highlighter best. To be honest, lip oil second. I really do like the lip oil. The Satin Matte lipstick, really pretty color. I have probably a similar shade somewhere, but I do like it. And the eyeshadow last. Not that it's bad, like I said, but I feel like I just have this color story so many times over. And if it had been the creme formula, I think I would have just been like, oh, absolutely. But with this formula, I don't know. I think it's good, but I don't think it's great. That's just me. And maybe I'm just like, a little burnt out of the color story. That could be as well. I'd love to hear your thoughts if you picked up this collection, if you're thinking about picking up the collection. And like I said, I will have the rose teas. I'll do a video on that. And I'll have the cream blush when and if I can get it. Thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I really do appreciate it. Hope to see you in another video really soon. Bye.